Thank you for joining me today, and thank you to those who were able to attend this meeting in person a few weeks ago. But today we're going to go over some supportive sport parenting. I'm going to jump around a little bit here, but we're going to cover all of our bases. So first off, leaving the coaches to the coaching, right? You might be a dual hat person where you're a coach, but you're also a parent. It's important when you've signed your athlete up for this wonderful program. We have awesome coaches. We have an awesome mountain for them to train on. Helping to leave kind of that side of coaching to the coaches, right? I'm sure that you've all experienced giving your athlete advice or trying to give them tips as coming from a coach perspective, and it's not always super well received, right? It's a little bit more well received from their actual coach. Secondly, letting the start be a space for coaches and athletes, keeping in mind that they might need some space in the finish to process their run and process what happened. I love kind of when you're talking to your athlete after the race, letting them process by saying, all right, what did you do well? And what can you do better for your next run? Giving them that space for a little bit of introspection. And as for the start, most of our athletes have a pre-performance routine if they've worked with Steph or I on a sports psychology performance basis. So they kind of have their routine of what they need to do prior to their run. So having you up at the start might be a little distracting at times. This could be helpful, just having open communication with your athlete to decide what's best for them. Next, we have cheering everyone on the team, right? We have this awesome team atmosphere that we really want to flourish and build throughout the season. And that starts from the first race or first training. Cheering everyone on the team, even those on other teams. When your athlete sees you doing this, they're going to reciprocate, right? You are their model. And usually what you do, they're going to emulate. Then we have remembering why we put them in the sport. What are some things that you want your athlete to walk away with from being a part of this sport? From having these experiences, from having these challenges, this frustration, these successes, joy. What kind of things do you ultimately want them to walk away with? And having that kind of as your end goal for your athlete. Then when we're in the finish line, I love asking parents this question of, when you're in the finish, what is the first thing that your athlete usually does? They ask, well, what was my time? What was my place? Okay, trying to step back a minute. And maybe you have a parent there who already has all the stats up, or another athlete or a coach who already has the stats up on live timing of, okay, what place am I in? Instead of immediately crunching the numbers, it's super productive to have your athlete think, okay, how did it feel? How did that run feel? What kind of things did you do well on that run? Bringing it back to, what did I do well? And what do I need to focus on for the next run? This can be even after their training run, right? Of what's something that you did well and what's something that maybe you want to do differently or the same for your race run. So then we have kind of some examples of counterproductive versus productive scenarios, right? So first one being, I know you can beat Billy. You usually beat Billy, so you should be able to beat Billy, right? This makes success defined as black and white of whether or not you beat Billy. So the athlete defines themselves and defines their success as whether or not they beat this person, rather than trying to reframe it as, how am I successful? Are you your main competitor? Using themselves as defining their own success of, okay, I did this in the practice run. I improved on that. Or no, I didn't improve on that. I need to do this and go back to riding this way or holding my body in this specific position for next time. This teaches them that to focus on the things that are in their control. Outside of your control is what your competitors are doing, right? You can't control how Billy rides his run. You can't control that, but you can control how you ride your run, how you hold your body position, how you manage a bank turn, anything like that. So praise when praise is earned. Don't give unwarranted good jobs. That makes good jobs meaningless, right? Giving them constructive feedback when necessary, but also making sure that you're maintaining that differential of letting the coaches coach once again, but not giving unwarranted good jobs when praise is deserved. If they did do a good job and you saw it, or that they're telling you, yeah, that was a great run, then giving praise in that way. We talked a little bit about this already, but scoreboard mentality, defining success by crunching the numbers. So you have to qualify in the top 10 in order to make the next competition. Is that beneficial to the start of their run? Possibly, but probably not. Instead, having that growth mindset of what did you learn on that run? Every run is a learning opportunity, but we also learn the most from failure, right? Failure is our most beneficial term of success. Then comparisons. You see how Billy is skiing so aggressively, you should do that. Or you see how Billy is biking so aggressively, you should do that. If your athlete is also always focusing on other people riding, how can they focus on what they're doing? They're so focused on, oh my gosh, I have to beat Billy. I have to do this. I have to be as aggressive as Billy. We did have, we can talk about sometimes it is beneficial, and usually it's beneficial to have our teammates pushing us, to have our really good friends pushing us, right? But we also have to bring back into accordance our expectations. So goals are a constant process, right? What are your goals for yourself? Are you attaining those for yourself? Maybe Billy has different goals. How does this fit into your goals? And what can you do to help get closer to them? Redefining that expectation. Next, we have pressure. You have to ride it well here to qualify. You have 2 competitions left. You have to ride well, right? Instead of doing that, bringing it back to the present moment, bringing it back to this race rather than future endeavors or past occurrences, past successes, or past failures. Oh, you've done so well here before, you'll be fine. Instead, bringing it to the present moment and bringing it to the present training run or the present race. The result happens at the end. Focus on the now. By focusing on what you're doing here and now, the result will come to you, right? Leaving the past in the past, leaving the future in the future. You'll get there eventually. Placing blame. This is a great one. So it wasn't your fault. Oh no, it was the weather. It was the track. It was your bike. It was the mechanical issue, right? Taking ownership instead of what is in the athlete's control that could have improved the situation. Yes, there's going to be bad conditions. There's going to be bad weather. Maybe you're going to have a malfunction. None of those are inside of the athlete's control. So instead, reframing it of, okay, yes, this is the situation. How can we then go and manage or handle the situation to the best of our ability so that we can still perform to the best of our ability? So an example would be, I can tell you're upset by how difficult that trail was. How do you think you can ride those conditions more effectively next time? Maybe that's you need to change your body position a little bit. Maybe that's you need to take this turn a little bit wider. Whatever it might be, but coming up with those scenarios and coming up with kind of those solutions to help the situation be more in the athlete's control. Next, we have self-regulation. So these are some great examples. We talked about modeling a little bit earlier. These are some great examples of how you can model for your athlete how to work through your emotions in a healthy way, right? So watching your body language. If your arms are crossed, that signals that you're in distress or upset in some way. Being very open, right? Making sure it's matching the message that you're trying to send. Giving them space to manage their own emotions, right? I can see that you have a lot of big emotions right now. Why don't you step away for 5 minutes? And then whenever you're ready, feel free to come on back. Remembering that, those emotionally charged moments are not always the best to analyze their run. If they had a really terrible run and they're upset and angry or sad, those moments are probably not the best to analyze their run. So giving it a moment and then coming back to it. And lastly, we have, in the end, show your athlete unconditional love so that they know without a shadow of a doubt that they could not possibly bike well enough to gain more of your love, or they can't bike poorly enough to lose it. So some examples of what you could say before their competition: have fun, bike hard, and I love you. After the competition, did you have fun? I'm so proud of you. And of course, I love you. I hope that this was helpful today, and I will also send out our supportive sport parenting worksheet. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Steph and I at any point. Thanks, guys.